Hey, this is Barry here, and you are very, very welcome to today's podcast episode. Now, today's podcast episode is on the topic of support and the lack of it. Because you may find sometimes that we're working on a passion business, and the people that are around us are people that we would assume would cheer us on, would want us to do well, and then we find that they're not there. So what do you do in that situation where maybe friends or family aren't supporting you? Does it mean that they're right? Does it mean that you can't achieve this success, this goal that you're looking to go after? And maybe if they don't support you, maybe you should just quit. Because you need all that support. You need those people cheering you on. So I'm recording this podcast episode not because I am actually in this situation, but I want to give you some things to think about and maybe some mental tweaks that's going to help you in this spot right now where maybe you're not being supported. Because you will find that, sometimes the people around us don't support us. But you can be guaranteed that there are people on the internet right now who are going to be your greatest cheerleaders. And I've seen that, not that my own family doesn't support me, but sometimes some of the things I did, the people who were cheering me on were all over the world, were people I would never come in contact with. And sometimes those people were cheering me on far louder than my own family was. But again, as I said, my family was cheering me along in their own way, but sometimes you find great cheerleaders out there who want you to do well. So just because sometimes you find maybe the people around you right now aren't cheering you on, it doesn't mean that they're right. So the first thing I'd say to you is that to remember that people can't see what you can see. And what I mean by that is you probably have a great dream. You've got a goal in your head right now where you have a passion business, where you're making money from home, where you have huge audience on social media, YouTube, or whatever it is you're looking to do. But you have this huge dream and goal in your head that only you can see. Now, right now, I have a big idea in my head here. I have an idea of thousands of podcast listeners all over the world, of people watching my videos on TikTok and YouTube, and this is my idea in my head right now. Now, if you were to come into this bedroom, you would find Barry sitting in the corner of the room with a microphone, with his mobile phone on a stand, and he's just talking into the camera. Now, anyone coming into the room, looking at me, is going to see what I'm doing in the physical world in a different way. They're probably thinking to themselves, well, what the hell is he doing over there in the corner of the room? Why is he making these videos? Who the hell is he talking to? And it's very easy for those people just to kind of look at me as what he's doing is a bit daft. And looking at what I do in a completely different way than what I do. Because the image I have in my head here is an image that they can't see. And because they are just seeing what I'm doing, sometimes you find maybe people won't be supporting you. It could be that maybe you're just sitting down every day and you're on the laptop for hours, you're writing blog posts or you're doing something. And because there's nothing actually concrete, physical there for people to see, they're just saying, well, why the hell is he on his laptop all day? Why is she over here recording videos for TikTok all the time? Because they're just looking at what we're doing from their perspective, the outside world. And because it's not the same as the great big idea, the big dream, the big goal we have in our head, you're going to find that they don't support it because it just seems like it's weird or it's a waste of time. So just think about that for a moment, is because that some people can't see what you can see, and because they can't see what you can see, they're not as supportive. Another thing I'd say to you as well too is that your friends and your family know where the bodies are buried. Now what I mean by that is your friends and family have lived with you possibly for years. So they know all your past history. They know all the harebrained schemes you've got up to. They know all the things you've tried in the past and given up on. And then when you come along and say, oh, I'm going to build a business around my passion, and they're kind of saying, oh yeah, here's another one of these harebrained schemes. This is not going to go anywhere. I'm not going to get involved because do you remember that time I tried to motivate her, inspire her, and then it just blew up in our faces? I'm not going to go down that route again, so I'm not going to support her. And you find sometimes that because the people know what we've done in the past, they just assume that whatever we're going to do right now is just going to be another one of those harebrained schemes. Now in my own case, I have a lot of harebrained schemes behind me. I have done many things. I have been involved in multi-level marketing. I've sold vitamin tablets. I've sold weight loss products. I have tried blogging on topics that I had no knowledge about at all. And it'll be easy for people in my family to look at what I'm doing right now and thinking, oh, don't mind him. He's just making those videos for TikTok or YouTube, or he's doing this podcast thing. It'll be a thing that he'll forget about in a couple of weeks' time. And sometimes because they know where all the bodies are buried in the past, that could be why. Until you actually have success, until they actually can see you getting closer to the mental destination you've already planned out, when they see you making progress, and then they can sometimes jump into line with you, because they know that this thing you're doing right now isn't like everything else. It's completely different. And sometimes you might find that they need to see some proof in the real world before they'll jump in line behind you. Now, another thing I would say to you as well too is that sometimes the people around you don't want you to be successful. Now, that's not a nice thing to think about, that maybe your family or your friends don't want you to be successful. But you need to admit it sometimes. Because sometimes you're going to find that if you are successful, it makes other people uncomfortable. It makes them uncomfortable in that they need to look at their own lives. Because they think to themselves, well, I grew up with him, or I grew up with her, or I used to hang out with them, and they have this huge business that's doing really, really well, and I've done nothing with my life. You know, I had an idea like that, but I never took action on it. And because I never took action on it, well, what does that say about me? And sometimes it's easier for that other person to try and break down your castle instead of actually building one themselves. Because sometimes it's painful to admit that, you know something, I've screwed up my life. And sometimes we don't want to look at ourselves. Sometimes it's a lot easier to point our anger, point our finger, and try and bring down someone else instead of supporting them. As I said, it's not a nice thing to think about, but you have to be aware sometimes that people around you, whether that's maybe subconsciously, maybe even consciously, and maybe on purpose, they want to bring you down because they don't want to look at their own lives. And it's far easier for them to pull you down and have you on the same level with them than admitting that something, you know something, maybe I screwed up my own life. Maybe I should have did what they're doing. I should have tried that thing. And sometimes you might find that could be why they aren't supporting you, because the people around you just don't want to admit that they've screwed up their own lives. So if you find that, you know, you're just not getting a lot of support right now, and you're thinking to yourself, well, you know, how can I build myself up? How can I build some confidence in myself? What I recommend is getting some biographies. If you know maybe someone who had a really hard start in a business, who is successful right now, you should read those types of books. See the difficulties that those people had, all the problems that they went through. And that's going to give you motivation in yourself. Maybe if you don't like maybe reading, have a look at maybe some podcasts. Is there any maybe YouTube videos that would give you inspiration of people who've had difficult journeys? Or maybe hang out with people who have got to where you're looking to get to, and use their motivation and inspiration to keep you going until you actually bring the results into the real world. And then, as I said, sometimes you find your family and friends jump into line when they realize that you are going to be successful. And what I'd say to you as well too is sometimes you're probably better off not talking to people. And what I mean by that is sometimes you can't explain to people what you're doing, because as I said, they are looking at what you do in a different perspective. And sometimes it's very difficult to take this dream, this image, this big huge goal in your head and actually put it into words, and put it into words that someone else can understand, that they can actually see it too. Sometimes you might have the rare person who can actually see what you're trying to achieve and, you know, kind of fall into line then. But sometimes it's difficult actually getting someone to understand the way you see things. And sometimes you're better off maybe not telling them why you're doing the things that you do. You know, when somebody comes into you and says, well, why are you recording those videos and putting them on TikTok? And then you go off on this story, well, I'm doing the videos for TikTok because I want to do this, or I'm writing these blog posts on my blog because I want this to happen next, and this is going to happen, that's going to happen. And then they kind of look at you and say, and they don't understand. So sometimes to save yourself the effort of just explaining yourself to people who will never understand, you're better off just saying, I'm doing it because I like doing it. I like making the videos. I like writing blog posts. I like doing what I'm doing. Sometimes you just need to just kind of answer it with just a simple answer like that. Because the more you try explain yourself to people who will never understand, you're just going to be explaining, and it's just going to be bouncing off their head. You're wasting your time. So sometimes to shorten the conversation and get them out of the room, just say, I like doing it. I like making videos. It makes me happy. And then just leave it at that. So what I'd say to you as well too is sometimes if you are getting some feedback from these people who maybe aren't believing in you, aren't motivating you, aren't cheering you on, look at that feedback through the perspective of, does this person know what they're talking about? Now sometimes it might. On the rare occasion you might have somebody in your family and friends who might give you good advice, who maybe could say, well, you know something, I don't think this is right for you because I know you and you haven't got that type of personality. You could try it, but I just don't think maybe it could be right for you. Maybe you should try something else instead. You know, sometimes you can get good feedback from your family and friends, but sometimes you need to run the feedback that you're given through the kind of the thought of, does this person know what they're talking about? You know, have they done the thing that I'd like to do? Do they know anything about this thing that I'm talking about? Or are they just giving me advice from their perspective of where they are with their life, not getting outside their comfort zone, not taking action, not following their dreams and goals? Are they answering my question through that? Or are they just, you know, it's going to be helpful? Do they know what they're talking about? Sometimes you might find that maybe you need to go and ask someone who's already done the thing you'd like to do for their feedback because they've been in that situation. They have achieved the thing that you're looking to achieve. So sometimes, you know, this helpful advice that family and friends give you needs to be run through that filter of, do they know what they're talking about? Is this helpful advice? Or is it something that they're saying to me to bring me down, of not wanting me to be successful? So hopefully this podcast episode helped you. As I said, I haven't found it in my own case. My wife and my family do support me. But there will be sometimes moments in your life where people will look at what you're doing and think you're crazy, you know, and think, well, you know, this is just another harebrained scheme that's just not going to work out. So it doesn't mean that they're right. It just means that maybe they just haven't seen what's in your head. And when you actually start bringing the results in the physical world, where you start building an audience, where you start making money online, you'll find those people jump in behind with you. And as I said, if you find some people sometimes just don't fall into line, it could be maybe they just will never support you, even though it's going to hurt. But sometimes, you know, you have to be honest and say, is this person doing the right thing for me? Or are they trying to hold me back? So I hope you enjoyed this podcast episode. Again, if you have any comments, any questions, please feel free to leave them below the video. And as always, have a lovely day. Take care. Bye-bye.